Đây, được rồi đấy. Đang quay đúng không? Hello everyone, this is my homework. Today I talk about mini story for the Day of the Dead. Let's start. I arrived in Guatemala on the Day of the Dead, November 1st. I was curious about this holiday, so I went to the cemetery to see what was happening. What I found was quite interesting. Number first question: did I arrive in Guatemala? Yes, I arrived in Guatemala. Where did I arrive? Guatemala, right. I arrived in Guatemala. Who arrived in Guatemala on the Day of the Dead? Was is the AZ Hall. Did I arrive in Guatemala on the November 3rd? No, I didn't arrive in Guatemala on November 3rd. I arrived in Guatemala on November 1st. What day I did arrive in Guatemala? November 1st. I arrived in Guatemala on November 1st. Where did I arrive on November 1st? Guatemala. I was curious about the holiday, so I went to the cemetery to see what was happening. Was I angry about this holiday? No, I wasn't angry about this holiday. What I said about the holiday? No, I wasn't sad about the holiday. I was curious about this holiday. Who was curious about this holiday? What is the AJ? What was I curious about? The holiday. I was curious about the holiday. Which holiday was I curious about? Which is the Day of the Dead. I was curious about the Day of the Dead. Was I curious about the Day of the Dead, or was I curious about Christmas? No, I was curious about the Day of the Dead, of course. I was curious about the Day of the Dead, so I went to the cemetery to see what was happening. Where did I go? To the cemetery. Did I go to the cemetery or did I go to the airport? Oh, I went to the cemetery. Who went to the cemetery? Well, it was AJ. Where did I go? To the cemetery, right. I went to the cemetery. When did I go to the cemetery? It was November 1st. The Day of the Dead. I went to the cemetery on the Day of the Dead, November 1st. Why did I go to the cemetery? Well, he went to the cemetery to see what was happening. Who went to the cemetery to see what was happening? It was AZ. AZ went to the cemetery to see what was happening. Where was the cemetery? In Guatemala. The cemetery was in Guatemala. What is the Day of the Dead? A holiday. The Day of the Dead is a holiday. When is the Day of the Dead? On November 1st. The Day of the Dead war and is November 1st. So I went to the cemetery on the Day of the Dead to see what was happening. What I found was quite interesting. Was it boring? No, it wasn't boring. Was it interesting? Yeah, of course, it was interesting. How did I feel about the cemetery? I felt it was interesting. I thought it was interesting. Was it boring or was it interesting? Of course, it was interesting. What was interesting? The cemetery. The cemetery was interesting. When was the cemetery interesting? It was interesting on the day of the dead, November 1st. The atmosphere in the cemetery was like a party. Was the atmosphere very sad? No, the atmosphere was not sad. The atmosphere was like a party. Was the atmosphere sad or happy? The atmosphere was happy. The atmosphere was like a party. What was like a party? The atmosphere. Where was the atmosphere like a party? In the cemetery. Was the atmosphere like a party at my house? No, not at my house. The atmosphere was like a party in the cemetery. There were people everywhere. Families were sitting around the grave of their dead ancestors. Where were families sitting? Around the grave. They were sitting around the grave. Who was sitting around the grave? The families. Was they sitting around the cheese? No, they weren't sitting around the cheese. Was they sitting around the grave of their dead ancestors? Yes, they were sitting around the grave of their dead ancestors. Who was sitting around the grave? That's right, family was sitting around the grave. Whose grave was they sitting around? Yeah, their dead ancestors. Was they sitting around the grave of their dead ancestor or the grave of their friends? Ancestor right. They cleaned the grave and added fresh flower. Who cleaned the grave? That's right, the families. What do they add? They added fresh flowers. Did they add fruit? No, they didn't add food. Did they add money? No, they didn't add money. They added fresh flour. What did they clean? They cleaned the grave. Whose grave did they clean? Their dead ancestor. Where did they add flowers? Where? They added flour to the grave. They cleaned the grave and added fresh flour. Good. I walked through the cemetery and admired the beauty of the colorful flowers. Where did I walk? Through the cemetery. I walked through the cemetery. Did I walk to the park? No, I didn't walk through the park. I walked through the cemetery. who walked through the cemetery. There is were easy poet. I walked through the cemetery. Did I walk through the cemetery or did I walk through the park? I walked through the cemetery. That's why I admired the beautiful, the colorful flowers. Did I admire the beauty of the trees? No, I didn't admire the beauty of the trees. Did I admire the beauty of the children? No, I didn't admire the beauty of children. I admired the beauty of the colorful flowers. Who admired the beauty of the colorful of flowers? That's why Ajeho. Where was the flowers? On the grass in the cemetery. The flower were on the grass in the cemetery. Were the flowers in the park? No, they weren't in the park. Was the flower in my house? No, they wasn't in my house. Where was the flower? The flower was on the grass in the cemetery. There were also colors in the sky because many kids were flying. Where was the colorful? In the sky. That's why in the sky. Why were the color in the sky? Because many kids were flying kites. That's all about the part 1 of the Day of the Dead mini story.